You ready? Okay. I'll call this meeting to order. It's 10:30, January 14th, 2025. We're here to discuss Idaho Power and an Avista decision. And I will turn it over to our treasurer.
Okay. So this meeting is regarding the lawsuit that Idaho Power and Avista initiated against the Idaho State Tax Commission. Taxpayers in Idaho have the opportunity each year to appeal their property tax assessments. Most property is assessed and appealed at the county level. The utility companies such as Avista and Idaho Power are assessed at the state level for their operating assessments, which means like their distribution mileage. For these two utility companies, their assessments are also appealed at state level. Their lawsuit was disputing the 2020, 2021, and 2022 property tax assessments. They won their lawsuit, and now Idaho State Tax Commission was ordered to adjust the values in their operating roll. The county every year uploads the values from the State Tax Commission and bills the taxes. Now the county has to adjust. So I had to reverse all the payments involved, cancel the tax and the interest because we were ordered to pay back interest, and then reapply the payments. The difference is now the credits that I applied to the 2024 taxes.
Okay.
The cancellation part is what affects all the districts involved, which is on the spreadsheet that you guys have. Jerry might have a little bit more information on this. He wants to share, or did I?
The process works.
Yeah.
So back in the old days, the railroads would go through a county, a city, a state, and the assessors had a tendency to pick on them, inflate their values because they didn't vote in that area, they didn't have any representation. The railroad just ran through. Well, they complained lawsuit at the federal level. So the federal level called it 4Rs Act. And why it's 4Rs, I don't know. That said you had to treat them equitably like you do everybody else. That kept the assessors from inflating their values and collecting taxes on them. So it's a federal law, and it's been federal law forever. Well, then Avista and Idaho Power teamed up and said, we want the same treatment. And the tax commission said, well, this is a federal issue, it doesn't pertain to Idaho. Well, as you can tell, it went clear to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says, yes, it does. There's a very good chance you haven't seen the end of it because and I believe the tax commission did it for every utility, whether it's Yellowstone Pipeline or Avista or any of those, to make sure they're all treated equitably. And basically what they do is they take your commercial sales in any county and to equalize it. So if your commercial sales were 10% over market value, they equal their values at the state level for that. And they, prior to this, they used to just do it for the railroad, but now they'll have to do it for all your utilities. So it'll be equalized at the state because the state, any utility that goes through more than one tax code, say if it goes through Wallace into Osborne, it goes through a couple of tax codes. So they assess it centrally, and then they give us the values, and then we apply the appropriate taxes. So this was that loss.
And there was 216 code areas in that lawsuit.
For the whole state.
For our county.
Just for our county, yeah. Yeah, because I think it affects every county in the state.
Mhm.
Like down south, it's Idaho Power. Up north, it's Avista. But our legislature had a chance to correct that. And it hadn't been through the Supreme Court yet. Last year, during the legislative session, they chose not to. Because they could have, at the railroad level, the 4Rs Act, they could have proposed that was an exemption and written it as an exemption for the railroads, and they chose not to. So that's why Vista and Idaho Power and the rest of the utilities are getting that consideration.
You think we're going to see more with the other utilities? And
I think at the state level they're doing it now for all the utilities, but there's other classes of ownership. There's residential, there's manufacturing homes, there's personal property, there's commercial. How long before one of those has an attorney that takes this to court too? It's a possibility. So that's kind of where we're at. But I'm sure we'll recoup a huge portion of that as the Vista lowers our rates. It's windfall.
So
Now, Carrie, on this, is there, and Lori, you answer.
Oh, you're asking a lot.
There's a way, Timmy, that on the L2s next year that they can make up this difference with other taxpayers, where in any of these entities.
Yes, they can do a judgment levy.
Right. Yeah, I get it.
That's going to be the discussion is, do they want to do that? And if they do, then all the remaining taxpayers will be on the hook, for lack of a better word, to make this difference.
okay.
So from here, we're just looking for approval
Okay.
of what has been accomplished and send out the letters to the districts notifying them of the amount that they're going to be shorted from it.
Okay. So we just need a motion to approve the.
Well, you've already signed off on the cancellation, so
Okay.
just the process of
Okay.
what we've done.
Wrap that up in
The reversals, cancellation, reapply
okay.
credits to the 2024 taxes
Reversal.
from the 2020, 21, and 22 years.
Okay.
Point of concern, we don't have this listed as an action item.
Yeah, that being, we can't make a decision on it.
We didn't catch that.
No.
We'll have to reschedule.
Okay.
Sorry.
Good point.
Okay.
We can probably schedule it for. Does it need? It needs to be done pretty quick.
Yeah, so we could notify all the districts, get all the letters ready, and I can start working on that part.
Okay. Can we do it Thursday? Can we get it out? Today's Tuesday. Gives us 48 hours. Okay. Let's do that. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay. Any public comment?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my head around this. So 23 and 24 has already been adjusted. Is that why it's not on here?
They didn't have 23 or 24 in the lawsuit. Just 20, 21, and 22.
And they can't go back on that 23, 24.
I'm not sure
It's kind of
if
strange.
that will come through or not.
So what's this cost the county a year roughly in taxes?
It's listed.
154,000?
143.
Let me.
This one? 143,793.
How much?
Yes.
143,793, that first in yellow.
That's the most important numbers.
So I guess my other question is where's the money going to come from to pay this back? Out of cash?
So I mean, as far as paying it back, I guess you just kind of gotta watch your budget at this point. I mean, there's no.
Will it be credits?
Mhm.
Yes, the difference were turned into credits towards the 24 taxes.
Right.
Mhm.
Right, you just, next year when Avista pays their bill, they minus the salary.
Yes, it's
Well,
already
yeah.
been applied.
We'll be 147 less than this year.
Right.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And that would go off to the different funds, like the Justice Fund, we get a section of that taken out of their budget.
Right.
Okay, all right. I think that's it
Okay.
for now.
Okay.
I'd have one comment.
Okay.
Terry.
Yes.
She's, her office shouldn't command it, because there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Yeah.
So,
You say over 1,000 entries? Yeah.
By the time I was done, yeah.
Yeah. That's.
1,001 entries.
Mhm.
And what was you had mentioned 216, and what was that?
There's two, I didn't make copies of this,
Right.
but by code area, there's 216 code areas that their parcels lie in. One parcel per code area. And that's per year.
do you understand the code area?
Okay, go ahead and explain it. Vaguely, I do, but
I wish I had a chalkboard. Churchill County has the most code areas for any county in the state. But city limits of Wallace is a code area. For instance, when I lived at King Street, part of my property was in city limits, part was out.
Okay.
So I had two code areas.
Okay.
Because Wallace assessed taxes on the part that's in, but they couldn't on the part that's out. So the part that was out was in another code area.
Okay.
So
Which equates to two bills.
your code areas, you'd have Wallace, right? And then you'd have the school district, you know, and they overlay each other. And each one of those has a code area, because when I was in Wallace, I paid into Wallace Fire District, county, everybody pays into the county. But I did the part that wasn't, I didn't pay in, but I paid all the other taxing entities. And so they overlapped each other. Every time they overlap, you have to have a code area so the appropriate levy gets assessed to that property.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's a nightmare.
Sounds like it.
I have another question, if you don't mind. Why, I don't understand, the road and bridge doesn't tax, but they're getting billed for 907.
1 year ago.
1 year, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions from the commissioners? Okay. We'll continue the meeting until, well, we'll, motion to continue the meeting at what time? What time do we have for Thursday?
For open, it was supposed to be after 11,
Okay.
something amended.
Okay. Motion to continue the meeting at 11:30 on Thursday?
Well, we can't take any action. Right? 'Cause we-
Oh, that's right. We can't take any action.
So we'll just amend it.
So we'll
just
just have to
schedule another
just
meeting.
schedule another meeting. Okay. I'll adjourn the meeting.